It's wALT. We are, well, not really. We're adjacent to the Two Brothers Green Room here at Subterranean for a Queued Up Artist Showcase, having a beer with the band, and I'm with Flora Cash. Guys, welcome.
Thanks, Walt.
Introduce yourself because I don't want to butcher your name.
It's okay. Hi, I'm Shpresa.
Guys, I would absolutely... Shpresa?
Oh, yeah. That's the American one, kind of, right?
Yeah. Well, I usually pronounce it like Shpresa.
Shpresa?
Yeah, that's really close. Yeah.
This is...
I'm Cole. Very easy. I got one syllable. Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
we balance each other out with that.
I know you guys are probably sick and tired of telling the story, but
not at all.
But how did you guys meet?
All right. So we met on SoundCloud. I found Cole's music first. I was living in Sweden, Stockholm. And I clicked on Cole's name on SoundCloud because I was looking for some inspiration to write new music. You know, it's always good to listen to other people's music and stuff. And was totally blown away by his magical voice and his amazing lyrics. They like stood out. And I listened to all of the songs. All of them. And he had a lot of songs on there. So, and after that...
So then what? Did you message him or...
I commented on the songs. Like,
Yeah, she left a bunch of comments.
Yeah, a few.
And then I noticed the comments, and then I listened to her music, and I felt the same way. I was totally blown away, and I just felt like... Because I had actually been thinking for a while that I would like to collaborate musically with somebody. It didn't matter, male, female, whatever, but just somebody on the same wavelength. And even though, like, aesthetically it was a bit different, because she had the Swedish influence and mine was a bit more Americana, folky, whatever, I just felt like we were on the same wavelength. So we talked about collaborating, and then one thing led to another. We started talking on Facebook. Things got more personal. We eventually started Skyping, and then we ended up doing like a 5-month like Skype relationship,
right?
Where it was like all day, every day we were Skyping together, day and night, literally. And there's like a huge time difference, so one would be sleeping and the other was still awake. And I don't know, we didn't feel like we were like alone but together kind of thing. And then she came to Minneapolis. She had the guts to do that, which was I think like a big risk. Actually,
that is a huge thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't that much of a risk because we have to add, we Skyped with each other's families. I Skyped with his grandma and grandpa, his aunt, his mom, his siblings. So everybody Skyped with, like, it wasn't like I was getting to this stranger.
But still, I mean, it's so romantic for you guys to build up this relationship without even physically being in a room together. So, I mean, it is so built on your love of music and your personalities with each other. And I think that is such an amazingly wonderful, beautiful thing.
Yeah,
I think so.
I must agree, actually, on that.
So when did you start making music together then? Was it before you came to Minneapolis?
We tried.
We tried a few times, but also because we just Skyped, and it was this. We tried to write over Skype, and usually there's like a delay.
Okay.
So that didn't kind of work out. Plus, we started really getting into each other. So I think we just were.
Yeah, the collaboration took a back seat, I would say.
Yeah. And then we did, first song we wrote together was in the end of the summer that we spent together in Minneapolis before we flew back to Sweden.
Right.
I think we finished it the week, maybe a few days before we actually left. And the song was called Somerset, and it's still out there. But it was like, it was bittersweet, because it was amazing because for me, it was like the start of something, well, for both of us, it was the start of something brand new and crazy and exciting. But it was also bittersweet because like I'm a Minnesota boy, and like, a lot of people from Minnesota never leave the state more than
I know
once
that
or
to be
twice.
true, yeah.
I know people that have only been to like North Dakota. They've been to Fargo.
I left. I'm out, but you really didn't go that far.
Like, I've been to Fargo, Wisconsin. I'm not mean because of my own family. People I really love are like that, and they're happy with that. But it was like an exciting, scary thing to be going all the way to Sweden. Like, I got a passport just because we met. So, but the whole thing was like bittersweet. I knew I was leaving home for good, and I think even for you it was, well, maybe not so bitter. Like, so you were going back home.
How did you pull him back to Sweden?
Well, I don't know. He fell in love, or he was in love before we even met.
So you're just like, I have to go back, and are you coming with me, or?
Yeah, I mean, kinda. I had a ticket that was going back to Sweden, and then he ordered a ticket coming back with me. It was almost like a självklarhet, as we say in Swedish, which means an obvious thing.
Right.
It wasn't even any thought in it.
It almost wasn't even planned. We
No.
just did it. Yeah, it almost wasn't even planned. It was just sort of spontaneously. It just felt like the right thing to do.
So now I have read that since you first got together physically or in the same room, you really haven't been apart.
No, we haven't. Well, like 12 hours or something.
Yeah, it's a few hours, but yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
So which is, I mean, it's an amazing story, which is why I have you tell it again. But has there ever been any musical disagreements?
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot. We're not saying it's all the roses and
Butterflies.
Thank you. Thank you. Obviously, we do disagree. But I think that's one of the things that is also in a good way, because we never do something that one of us like and the other one doesn't.
Right.
Like-
Do you find the compromise? You find
Flora Cash is totally like a synergy of like what we like. So there's a lot of things that don't make the cut because it's one or the other that loves it, you know. But sometimes we change our minds, obviously.
Sure.
But there's a lot of disagreement about like production, because you know we've up to this point written and produced everything ourselves. There's disagreements about production, disagreements about lyrics, but I think it's all good, because what ends up happening is like you've got somebody to push you not to be lazy and to just settle, you know.
Right.
It can be easy sometimes to be like, oh, that lyric's good enough, and then the other one will be like, no, we can do better. It's a lot of that.
And I think it's a good mixture between the Swedishness and the Americanness. I think, like, you know, it comes to this for us anyways.
Yeah, I think so. Each culture contributes something in our background, I think.
Yeah.
Well, it obviously connects. I had somebody email me over the weekend when they heard me play the song on Queued Up, and they're just like, "What was that? That was the most amazing song. I haven't felt that way in a long time." And this is a person who books shows around the Chicagoland area, so he hears a lot of music. So I mean, it works. How do you guys write? What instrument do you start it with? A guitar? Do you start with programming?
It's so different. I don't play any instruments except for a little bit of keyboard and triggering stuff, but it just depends on the mood. Also, like, I don't know if we mentioned that we are married, so we can just basically do it every time or anywhere.
Right.
And sometimes it could be just you playing something in the guitar, me cooking something, you cleaning, and me coming up with a melody, and then we just like, oh, let's do this, you know.
It totally
Dinner's going to be
varies.
burned tonight. Sorry, but we got a great song out of it.
It's funny because, like, I don't know. It just really depends on what we're trying to do. Like, we used to, when we first started, we wrote almost exclusively over a guitar riff. And then we sort of started to notice that we had patterns where we wrote a certain type of song over the guitar.
Right.
And then when we started, like, recording over piano riffs or, like you said, programming, like synths, you know, pads or whatever, we would get a different thing. So if we're in a mood for something, then we'll start with different things. And
Right.
Espresso really likes starting melody first sometimes, which I find to be like, that's super advanced. I don't know.
I know, right? That's super advanced.
That's very Swedish
But
also.
it is. I had a producer tell me once that think about like the Rolling Stones' "Get Off My Cloud." Like that the whole song was written off of "Hey, you get off of my." I mean, you're right. You know, when you
Yeah.
think about it.
Yeah.
And so I think that is an advanced thing with
Thanks.
songwriting to start with the lyric.
I never thought about that. It's just how I always written. So,
What's your somebody else about it?
like, the thing is, sometimes we write songs and then they totally have a meaning right away. And sometimes we write songs and then we analyze them after a while and we're like, oh, this is what it meant then, but now it means this. I feel like if somebody else is a song that means so many different things to other people.
Right.
But to, what do you think?
Well, I think,
No.
but you're totally right, and also it's hard because this song has, unlike a lot of other songs that we've written, I mean, has taken on a weird life of its own, and you would not believe the kind of messages we get from people over social media where it's like they relate to it like they have a friend or a parent who has, like, say, a drug addiction,
Right.
and they see them in that song. It's a message about them or something happy or like about themselves.
Yeah.
We get that a lot.
Yeah, it just so, and also other things. Like,
Yeah. Like
just so many different things.
so many different things, but I think for us it started as a self-therapy. It was like self-talk. I mean, we were speaking to ourselves, and we were going through a little bit of a rough patch, just, you know, kind of
Right.
first world anxiety issues. No,
And I think I think a lot of people can relate to that, and I think it's something that is actually important to talk about because a lot of people go through
I think
anxiety.
a lot of people are struggling.
Well,
with
I think that's it. You've actually tapped a nerve. I think you've touched something that affects
Yeah.
a lot of people. I know people in my family are, struggling with depression and anxiety a lot too. So I mean, it's out
no
there.
joke,
There's no reason to sweep it under the carpet or anything.
Exactly.
And I think it's important. And I think, back in the day, I guess people were more embarrassed to talk about certain things like that.
All sorts of mental health issues were way more.
Yeah, and nowadays we're like, no, whatever we have, we're all in this together. Like, it should be out there. And
Well said.
thank you, honey.
So, new record just came out earlier this year. The song is taking off. What are the plans for the rest of the year?
Well, a lot of plans. We obviously continue to write, and we will have something new. Like we just said, being married, you cannot avoid writing songs a lot together, and a lot and a lot.
We've got
which is
probably.
great.
I
mean-
would say that we've got a full record of stuff that's ready to go. We've got a single that we're really excited about. We just got to hammer out the date.
Right. You have a new
we're gonna-
label now.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
We're very excited about
Yeah,
that.
very excited.
Going from SoundCloud and now getting after a bidding war, getting hooked up with a major label. I mean,
Oh,
that's
Glad
exciting
you
stuff.
said it. I would never say that about myself.
I'm in the business. On the business side, I can do that.
I have to be honest with you. If we can say the name of the label, RCA.
Yeah.
We come from like a really do-it-yourself indie background, and the label that we've been on in Sweden has been absolutely fantastic, and they've given us total like freedom. And honestly, one of the reasons we went with RCA was because they feel like an indie label to us. Like the team is so nice and engaged and like enthusiastic, and they really want us to keep exploring our own thing. So for us, it feels like it's like a major label in the sense that it's awesome and great, and like it's a big thing, but like it also feels like
Indie
personal.
business, yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
So that's why I'm excited about it.
And it was totally like, we both really loved it right away.
Felt that way. Yeah. So
Well, I'm just enamored with your energy, your positiveness, and your music.
thank you.
Flora Cash, thanks for spending some time in the Two Brothers Green Room.
Thanks
Beer
for
with the
having us,
band
Walt.
on 101 WKQX.
Thank
for
you.
having us.